So here again is that optic, and I'll try to turn it around there. Yeah, I can see that red dot on the camera. Hopefully you can see that too. But anyway, we have the unit fired up. I've got the battery installed on it, and now we're going to drop it down into some water and let it sit for half an hour and see what happens. And our half hour is up, so we'll pick the optic out of the water and looking for that light. There it is. I don't know if you can see that in there. I guess there was some water like sitting on the lens that was kind of distorting. So now we'll take this thing over here and we'll chuck it in the freezer.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
All right, this thing should be good and frozen now. It looks frozen. There you can see that red dot bouncing around in there. Now, I know that many of you have come to expect the bounce it off the tree test that I do with this. So here, let me switch hands so I can do it first person shooter style here. Yeah. Ah, there it goes. Let's see what we got. Okay, did the frozen optic survive bouncing off of a tree? Well, let's see. The lens is really frozen up in there. Yep, there it is. I see the red dot, folks. It survived being frozen and bouncing off of a tree. And of course, now that we got it all dirty outside and it's frozen, let's run it under some hot water to get all that dirt off of it. And there you'll see we still have a bright red dot smiling at us. Unboxing portion for the Dalbinowl NOCTUA-R red dot optic. This is a 3 minute of angle red dot. I'm not 100% sure on the pronunciation, but I will say that the owl portion at the end probably is owl because they have a nice owl as their logo. So you'll see it's on all sides of the box as well as it appears like it's on top of the optic. Anyway, this is the Dalbinowl NOCTUA-R red dot in its box. We're going to do the unboxing right now. I know there's some of you that don't care for this, but there's some of you that really want to see it, so I'll show it to you. The packaging is actually quite nice, which I'm a little indifferent to that as I plan to throw it away. There's that owl again. Nice foam padding. We've got a rather concise looking little manual that came with it, a lens cleaning claw, a 2032 battery, a tool with a Torx on 1 inch and a flat tip on the other, no doubt for mounting and optic adjustment. The optic itself, as well as one of those do not eat packets. Now, I will tell you that this optic weighs 7.5 ounces with the battery. It's really kind of heavy. I didn't expect it to be as heavy as it is. For whatever reason, I was thinking it was going to be smaller than what we're actually looking at here. So here it is, the NOCTUA-R. It's got the owl on top of it. Now, I just took this out of the house, which has air conditioning on, and I'm out here in the studio that's rather warm and muggy today. And you'll notice, I don't know if you can see it there in the camera. I'll try to hold it up so you can. The lens on this thing has kind of fogged up. Now, that is a thing that happens with red dot optics, and in my opinion, is the weak link of an optic like this. But it's not anything that happens to this one that doesn't happen to the rest of them. So the optic features a 3 minute of angle red dot with a shake awake feature. What does that mean? Well, it means that they claim the optic has 50,000 hours of battery life. That would be at the lowest setting, and that is by means of the optic turning itself off after 4 minutes with a battery saving feature. We will be testing that here in a little while. That Dalbinowl is going to be making a quality optic. Now, this one is rather large. It's large and it's heavy. What does that mean? Well, in terms of technology, circuit boards, stuff like that, The bigger, heavier technology tends to be a little cheaper than some of the smaller, more compact kind of stuff, right? So the technology that's going into some of these little reflex pistol sights is on a lot smaller circuit boards, and the price is reflective of that. They cost a little more than something like this. As I mentioned in the unboxing portion, 119 is the Amazon price on it. However, right now they have a little redeem me code that you can put on there, save 30%. And in Texas, where I live, you can get this out the door for like $91, which is a huge deal. You saw me abuse it. You saw me get it wet. It didn't seem to affect function. Nothing broke on it. I took it to the range and shot about 150 rounds through it with no discernible shift in point of impact. Making the adjustments was real easy. It's very positive. You could do it with a case head if you needed to. If you forgot to take a wrench out there with you, the little screws on top of it there are very forgiving in that regard. For a $90 optic that you're going to mount on top of something like this little Kel-Tec or a modern sporting rifle platform, I would say you'd be hard pressed to find anything in this price range that was any better. It really is kind of good. I think the biggest drawback, and again, for something like this Kel-Tec, would be the weight. At 7.5 ounces, it does add a considerable amount of weight to this platform. So if you're going to carry this in a backpack or something like that, take into consideration that ounces translate to pounds when you've been carrying them for a long distance.